President Donald J. Trump.
And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. 'Cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. And hello to Savannah, and hello, Georgia. We love Georgia. It's great to be back in this beautiful state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. That's what you are, American patriots. And think of this, 42 days from now, we are going to win the state of Georgia. We are going to defeat Comrade Kamala Harris. And we are going to make America great again. But we're here today to talk about how we're going to launch a historic buildup of American manufacturing muscle and might. This is not a rally, although it feels like a rally. It's really a little event with my 5,000 or 6,000 closest friends in the whole world. But Georgia and Savannah are going to be right in the center of the action. We're going to rebuild our manufacturing, and it's going to happen. It's going to happen fast and beautifully. For years, Americans have watched as our country was stripped of jobs and wealth, and our companies were sold off to foreign countries. You've been watching, and it's been a horror show. I've been watching for many years, and we had it stemmed. And then all of a sudden, bad things happened. Bad things happened. But boy, I'll tell you, we had it stemmed. If we would have had 4 more years, everything, this would be such a different country right now. We would have had no inflation. You wouldn't have Russia attacking Ukraine. You wouldn't have had October 7th with Israel. The Middle East is blowing up. We could be very close to World War III with these characters that don't have any idea what they're doing. But what a shame. In Afghanistan, what a disaster. That was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country, I believe. But GE appliances were sold to the Chinese. IBM computers were again sold to China. Under Kamala Harris, U.S. Steel is now being sold to Japan. I will stop it. We got to do fast. We got to work fast, but we're not going to let it happen. We're not going to let U.S. Steel. 70 years ago, the greatest company on earth, U.S. Steel. Now it's going to be sold off like it was nothing. We're not going to let that happen. We'll build it up. We'll make it strong, but we're not going to let that happen. But with the vision I'm outlining today, not only will we stop our businesses from leaving for foreign lands, but under my leadership, we're going to take other countries' jobs. Did you ever hear that expression before? Have you ever heard that we're going to take other countries' jobs? It's never been stated before. We're going to take their factories, and we had it really rocking 4 years ago. We're going to bring thousands and thousands of businesses and trillions of dollars in wealth back to the good old USA. That's what we're going to be doing it, and doing it fast. And under my plan, American workers will no longer be worried about losing your jobs to foreign nations. Instead, foreign nations will be worried about losing their jobs to America. Going to bring them back. And it won't even be difficult. Your only worry will be deciding which job to take. There will be plenty of them. That will be your biggest problem. Darling, which company should I go with? We're going to bring them back, and we're going to bring them back at levels not to be believed, but you'll believe it in about 2 years from now. You're going to say, wow, that happened fast. You're going to have so many companies wanting to come in because this is where the money is. It won't be if we keep running it like we have for the last 4 years. But this is what they want. This is what they want, and you'll hear the plan. I want German car companies to become American car companies. I want them to build their plants here. I want to beat China in electronics production, and we'll be able to do that easily. We have the greatest genius, the greatest minds here, and then we end up building them in different places. A lot of that's really stupid tax policy. I want GE, IBM, and every other manufacturer that left us to be filled with regret and come sprinting back to our shores, and they will. So as your president, here is the deal that I will be offering to every major company and manufacturer on earth. I will give you the lowest taxes, the lowest energy costs, the lowest regulatory burden, and free access to the best and biggest market on the planet, but only if you make your product here in America. It all goes away if you don't make your product here, and hire American workers for the job. If you don't make your product here, then you will have to pay a tariff, a very substantial tariff, when you send your product into the United States. And by the way, you know, for years they knocked the word tariff, properly used, is a beautiful word. One of the most beautiful words I've ever heard. It's music to my ears. A lot of bad people didn't like that word, but now they're finding out I was right. And we will take in hundreds of billions of dollars into our treasury and use that money to benefit the American citizens. And it will not cause inflation, by the way. And you know, I took in from China hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes and tariffs, and I had no inflation. We didn't have any inflation, 1.2%. We had essentially no inflation. Now, you've had, over the last 4 years, you've had the highest inflation, I think, in the history of our country. Somebody said, no, sir, it's only 58 years. Well, that's pretty bad, too. I think it's really in the history of our country. This is the policy that built America, and this is the policy that is going to save America. It's going to save us, because we have gone so far down in so many different ways, not to mention the border, not to mention 21 million people pouring in from places unknown, totally unvetted. But like I've always called it, because it's a very beautiful and simple term, it's called America First. We're putting America first. This new American industrialism will create millions and millions of jobs, massively raise wages for American workers, and make the United States into a manufacturing powerhouse like it used to be many years ago. We will be able to build ships again. We will be able to build airplanes at a much higher level again. We will become the world leader in robotics and every other field. The U.S. auto industry, which has been decimated over many, many decades, will once again be the envy of the planet. We're not going to accept all of these cars. They come in from every country, and it knocks out. You know, I was up in Michigan. We're doing very well in Michigan. By the way, we're doing very well in Georgia. We're leading by quite a bit. But pretend you're 1 point down, please, and go and vote, okay? Don't. Just go vote. You got to vote. We got to win this. If we don't win this election, our country is gone. I really believe it. To the auto workers in Michigan, Georgia, and all other parts of our country, I am pinpointing you for greatness. Your industry has been decimated by many decades of incompetent leadership, both political and at your company level. You had presidents of your company that sold out our country. They didn't know what they were doing. They were horrible. And you had politicians that were grossly incompetent to let that happen. Your auto industry has been decimated. And again, with the electric car, it's all going to be made in China. The head of the United Auto Workers ought to be ashamed of himself for what he's done. But we're going to turn it around, and we're going to turn it around fast. China is right now building major auto plants in Mexico. Did you know that? They were going to start with me. I said, no, if you do them, I'm putting a 200% tariff on every car that comes. And they decided we'll pass. Then they said, wow, now we can build Trump. We won't have to worry about him anymore. Oh, here I am. Here I am. Here I am. We're leading in the polls. We're leading by a lot. We're leading by a lot. They said, oh, we don't have to worry about him. No, they have to worry about me. That's why they don't like me. You know, they used to like Obama. They used to like, they like Biden. You know why? Because they got away with murder. That's why they like Biden. They love Biden. Why would you like Biden except that you took advantage of him? They took advantage of him. And they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States and destroy Michigan and South Carolina and North Carolina and Georgia and all of the places that make autos. Not going to happen. We will put a 100% tariff on every single car coming across the Mexican border and tell them the only way they'll get rid of that tariff is if they want to build a plant right here in the United States with you people operating that plant. We want American citizens, and we want their plants built here, not 2 feet over the border and selling them into our country. We're not doing that. We don't do that anymore. A friend of mine does auto plants. He builds auto plants. That's what he's great at. He's great, the biggest in the world. And I said, I want to see a plant. Pretty recently ago, I want to see a plant. Where would we go? I said, would we go to Detroit? Someplace in Michigan, ideally. He says, no, you can't go there, sir. They're not. We'll have to go to Mexico. The big ones are being built in Mexico. I said, why is that? He said, well, they have a lot of tax reasons, and China's coming in big, and they think they're going to make their car and sell it in tax-free into the United States. But the big ones, if you want to see a really big modern plant, come with me to Mexico. I said, I'm not interested in going to Mexico. I want those plants built here. And that'll happen. In fact, when they learn about the 100 or 200% tariff, you know, they'll probably say, yeah, let's stop construction immediately. You'll see a big difference. I will bring automobile manufacturing back to the highest level in the history of our country. You know, it used to be we were the only place, and then it just got chipped away, mostly by China and Japan, and all of a sudden we were down more than 55% from where we were years ago. But it'll be like it was 50 years ago, and these jobs, they'll become roaring back, and we're going to be making autos at a level that you've never seen before. We'll be making cars bigger, better, more beautiful, stronger, and faster than ever before. Billions of people around the globe will soon be buying products proudly stamped, made in the USA. Or if you prefer, if you have to do it, made in Georgia. You can do that too. And they'll be exported through the port of Savannah. We had a little bit to do with that deeper port. Under my leadership, we helped deepen the port. You know that. We helped deepen the port once, and now I understand they want to do it again. And we will get in, and we will get that done very quickly. We'll work with your governor, and we're going to get that done very quickly. This will be a major undertaking involving the Army Corps of Engineers and transportation officials throughout your state. It's going to happen fast. This will happen so fast, you're going to say, gee, I thought he just said we're going to do it. You know, we have a strength over environmental impact statements. Sometimes they'll delay a project for 20 years, 25 years. With me, I think if it takes more than a month to get an approval, my people are not doing a very good job, all right? We'll get it done very quickly. With a world-class port and a world-class workforce, this city will soon become one of the premier export hubs anywhere on earth, tripling and quadrupling traffic as your power will lead an American manufacturing boom. We're going to have a manufacturing boom, and a lot of it's just taxation policy, tariff policy. They're going to come roaring back. When they have to pay tariffs to come in, but they have incentive to build here, they're going to come roaring back. It's not muscle. It's all right there. That's a muscle too, they say. By contrast, listen to the deal, Kamala Harris. Have you heard of her? You know, I had the first debate, and after that, Biden was down 21 points. And they went to him and they said, you're going to lose, you can't win, you're out. This is a coup, by the way. This guy had 14 million votes. We're going to put in somebody else. The last person was going to be Kamala Harris, but then they decided to be politically correct, and she got the job. She was the last one. There were 14 people mentioned. She was number 15, and she got the job. And if you saw her with Oprah the other day, or if you saw some of these interviews, there's something going on up there. We just had 4 years of that. We can't have another 4 years. Not going to happen. But she is offering to companies to entice them to keep jobs in America instead of shipping jobs overseas. First, she wants to listen to this. She's called the tax queen. They love her in other countries because she forces everybody out of our country into their hands. The tax queen is demanding a 33% tax hike on all domestic production. Now, you know, you can hate companies and all that, but they fuel growth and they fuel jobs, they fuel everything. You tell these companies, they don't care. They just assume be in Europe. They just assume they don't care. They want to go best price, it's called, best deal. And they're going to leave our country in droves if she does that. It's nice to say, you're going to pay 33% more. And one day you'll read, oh, gee, so-and-so, they just signed with China. They just signed with Germany. They just signed with Great Britain is dying to have. They'll give you free tax. Next, she wants the largest capital gains tax in the history of our country. We've never had a tax. And then she's telling people, build your place here, but we're going to have a brand new wealth confiscation tax. So if you make money, you're going to pay us a lot. But more importantly, it's called an unrealized capital gain. You know what that is? That means that you're going to pay a capital gain even if you haven't realized it, even if you haven't sold. So a lot of people are rich, but they don't have cash. Now they're going to have to get cash because if their thing goes up in value, they have to pay a massive tax. You're going to have deterioration. You're going to have a depression. If that happens, you have a 1929-style depression. This woman is grossly incompetent. Grossly incompetent. Think of it. If a company succeeds, you have to sell it to give her half the value. Half the value is going to be owned by the government. So if it's successful, you'll have to sell it because you don't have the cash. It's a huge success. You're going to make a lot of money in the future. We don't care about the future. Sell your company now, and bad things happen. And nobody's, by the way, nobody's tried it. It's a communist kind of thing. You know that? You could say it's a Marxist thing if you like, but communist you understand better. In addition, Kamala is shutting down power plants nationwide, causing electricity prices to soar more than 100%, going up 100%. They will soon be totally out of control. They already are, and businesses will flee. They're going to flee our country. If they can't get energy, they're going to flee our country, and they're going to flee fast. And yet we have more energy under our feet than any other country. I call it liquid gold. Liquid gold. We have more. We have more than Saudi Arabia. We have more liquid gold than Russia, and yet we're buying oil from Venezuela. Why? And it's not really oil, it's tar. You have to melt it. And you know where they melt it? Talk about the environment. There's only one plant in the world that can take care of it because it's really not good. It's the worst. Only one. You know where it's located? Houston, Texas. So in Houston, Texas, they clean this stuff up, and you know where the stuff goes? Right up there. So if you're a big believer in the environment, this is not good. But we have the best oil on earth, and we have the most oil, clean, beautiful stuff, and we have the most. And we're going to use it. As I say, drill, baby, drill. That's what we're going to be doing. Drill, baby, drill. And very importantly, she will close down all fracking and all fossil fuel development, which will bring our country into third world status. She's going to close down all fossil fuels. Germany tried it, but then they replaced Angela with somebody else, and that somebody else is now building a coal plant every single week in Germany. Germany was going to destroy themselves, I will say that. They would be out of business. They were having problems like nobody could believe. And that's how Kamala treats the American manufacturers. They're going to all leave, whatever's left of them, and there's not that much. They've gotten rid of so much. But if instead you ship production overseas, then she will give you a tax break. So if you build your product, make your product overseas, she's offering a tax break to make it overseas. Now you wonder why Biden has made so much money from all these countries. I mean, personally made and through the family. Think of that. You get an incentive to build your product outside of the United States. I mean, you don't have to be too good at business to know that's not going to work. It's honestly, it'll destroy our country. And you know, one of the other things, even whatever she's going to do, she wants to do it. She's going to, you know, she's going to the border very soon. She hasn't been there for 4 years. The border czar. I'm not the border czar. Oh, for years she was the border czar. Right now she's saying, because it's the worst border in history, but she's going to the border. It's very interesting. But you know what I ask? Well, even her policies now, they're crazy. They're crazy. They'll destroy country. But why didn't they do it 3.5 years ago? Now she's saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, whether she's right or wrong. So she had 3.5 years to do it. She didn't do anything. Our country has really gone back to levels. The only employment was all the bounce-back jobs that we created. Millions and millions bounced back right after the pandemic. Any pandemic anywhere, you have bounce-backs. And they had a bounce-back. But, you know, out of all the jobs that were created, most of those jobs went to illegal migrants. You know that. It didn't go to Americans. And what's happening with the people pouring into our country is they are killing the jobs of the black population and the Hispanic population. They're taking their jobs. So if you're black or Hispanic, thank you very much. Vote for Trump. You'll be in good shape. It's crazy. Those people are coming in, and they're taking the jobs of the black population and the Hispanic. And it makes sense. I mean, why not? And did you see black unemployment rose incredibly in the last 3 months? A lot of people say, why is that? Why is that? They can't. I'll tell you why. Because people are coming in and taking their jobs. That's the way it is. And it's no wonder that under Kamala Harris, we lost 24,000 manufacturing jobs last month. 24,000. We're going to turn that around so fast. We had created 650,000 manufacturing jobs before we even got ready to do it. And now we're ready. We're ready to do it. And the country's ready to do it. We need it. We have to have it. We need a renaissance. It's going to be a renaissance. But this horrific nightmare for American workers ends the day I take the oath of office, January 20th. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, listen to how good it is. It's so easy. It's so easy. China's used it for years, but we have a better plan than them. But they've used it for years. They can do whatever they want. You know, we have to go through certain hurdles, but not much. The centerpiece of my plan is for a manufacturing renaissance, which will be a 15% made in America tax rate. In other words, if you make your product in America, so the tax rate was practically close to 50%. Some people would say 38, but when you added it all up, some companies are paying much more with state and local, much more than 50%. But I got it down to 21% through Congress. Can you believe we got it through Congress? A lot of people say it was the greatest thing we did. I think maybe rebuilding the military was the greatest thing. Maybe the creation, maybe the creation of Space Force was the greatest. You know, we were being beaten badly in space, and now we're the leader in space. China and Russia were eating our lunch, and now we're eating their lunch. And we did so much. We gave you before the greatest, the biggest tax hikes in the history of our country, and the greatest regulatory cuts in the history. Think of it. We gave you, we took their tremendous tax hikes. We gave you the greatest tax cuts in the history of our country, bigger than Ronald Reagan's tax cuts, bigger than anybody's. And the hikes, they want to do it now. They want to hike your taxes at levels that we've never had before. 80%, 70% was a number that she thought sounded good. But we gave you the biggest tax cuts in history, and now we gave you the biggest regulation cuts, and that's how we had that tremendous growth. That's how we had the greatest job production in history. But this is going to blow that away. We're cutting the business tax now. We brought it down to 21%. So you could say it was over 50, but you could also say it was 39%. We got it down to 21%. Some of you great Congress people are here, and they are very, very instrumental in having done that. But now we're cutting the business tax from 21% to 15%, which makes us the most competitive tax anywhere on the planet, but only for those who make their product in the USA. See, that's an incentive. So we already cut it to 21%, and it was the 21%, that big cut, it was the 21 plus the regulatory cuts that gave us the greatest economy in our history. It was the greatest economy in the history of our country. And now what we're doing is taking it one step further, and a bigger step, actually. We're bringing it down to 15. Now we're the most competitive in the world. At 21, we were pretty good. At 15, we're the most competitive. People are going to be pouring in, companies are going to be pouring in, and we're going to continue with the regulatory cuts, and that'll be at a level, you know, we already beat every record for regulatory cuts. The problem is that Biden and Harris have put many of those regulatory cuts back in the books, and they didn't do anything. They were old, stayed. All they did was stop business. But we have U.S.-based manufacturers will also be rewarded with expanded research and development tax credits. You'll be able to write off 100% of the cost of heavy machinery and other equipment in the first year. And full expensing for new manufacturing investments. So you're going to get full expensing. In other words, you have a one-year write-off. You buy something, you have a one-year write-off, which gives you... I did that 1 year. We had a 5-year deal. During the period, you had a 1 year, you had a write-off, you take it off. The business boomed, and it was coming in at levels never seen before. And had we not been interrupted, and make sure there's no cheating in this election, please. What a different world we would have had. But it all helped to build the sprawling, state-of-the-art plants our country needs to be an industrial superpower in the modern world. We're going to have companies pouring into our country under this plan. And under my plan, we will cut energy and electricity prices in half within 12 months. And that means for your homes, too. We will commit, because of the fact that we're lucky. You know, China does not have this. Can you imagine? They want to go to electric cars, our people, but we don't have the product for electric cars. We have the product for gasoline-powered cars under our feet and hybrids. And we want to have electric cars. Hey, Elon Musk is great, right? He makes an excellent car, an electric car, and he endorsed me at a level that you wouldn't believe. Every day he said, we got to have Trump. He's a great guy. And he understands his product is phenomenal. And there's a great place for electric cars, but you have to have gasoline-powered cars too. You have to have hybrids. You have to have everything. You know, the new thing, and I'm sure Elon will get it if it's any good, but it's got one little problem. It explodes. Hydrogen. They say the new thing is hydrogen cars, but they're having a problem. If it explodes, you end up about 7 blocks away and you're dead. So personally, I don't know about you, but I'm going to take a pass. But maybe they'll figure it out, but right now I wouldn't recommend it. But there'll be other things happening, and they'll be great. But we don't want to have, they have the electric mandate. We'll be ending the electric mandate, all electric cars. We'll be ending that immediately. But more importantly, we will be able to quickly double our electric capacity, which will be needed to compete with China and other countries on artificial intelligence. You know, to do artificial, which is a big hot thing that's happening now. They say it's the next big wave. I don't know. It comes with risk, but it's the next hot thing. But it needs massive amounts of electricity. So if you took all of the electricity in our country right now, which isn't enough, because in California with Governor Newsom, you have blackouts and brownouts. How about him? He wants to go all electric cars, but he can't give you air conditioning in the summer, right? Let's go all electric, but we have a blackout every 10 seconds. It's crazy. It's crazy. But we're going to do things that nobody has ever really had the courage to do, but it doesn't take courage. It's common sense. You know, we're the party of common sense, okay? We're conservative, all that stuff. Who cares? We are the party of common sense. We will build new power plants. But think of this, the electric. So if you took all of the electric that we have right now in our country, you need that more than doubled to be able to compete with China. So they need more than double the electricity that we currently have to have the artificial intelligence, which will be a massive field. And China is already building plants, electric plants. And we have a problem because we have things called environmental impact statements and various things that you have to go through. I will get them approved so fast because China doesn't really need approval. President Xi says, okay, build that plant. That's the end. There's no environmental impact statement. I would ask him, President, do you go through an environmental impact statement? He says, I am the environmental impact statement. With us, you go through years and years of torture, but we're going to do it on an expedited basis. And with the lowest energy prices on Earth, we will have the lowest energy prices on Earth because we got lucky. We're right on top of the best stuff in the world. And I'll put Anwar back into play. You know, for Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. They couldn't get it done. Anwar in Alaska, the biggest field probably in the world, maybe bigger than Saudi Arabia. I got it done. I was so proud of it. I got it done. In his first week, they terminated it. The biggest field anywhere in the world that would supply Asia, would make so much money, would pay down debt so fast. And Biden rejected it. And when I terminated the Russian pipeline, Nord Stream 2, Biden approved it. But he terminated our pipeline, which is Nord Stream, right? The Nord Stream is the Russia, which is Keystone, the Keystone XL. He terminated our pipeline, but he approved the Russian pipeline, Nord Stream 2, going all over Europe, heading to Germany, but going all over Europe. And I just said, what the hell is going on? This was early on. This is in the first weeks of his administration. And I said, what's going on? And then they say, so think of it. I terminated the Russian pipeline, and then they said, Donald Trump was very friendly with Russia. That was the biggest thing that they've ever done, and I terminated it. When he came in, one of the first things he did is he approved the pipeline that I terminated, and they say, I was nice. That was the biggest, Putin told me, if you're like this, I would hate like hell to see if you were bad. They say that you've been nice to me. You have not been nice to me. With all the sanctions, but we had the fake Russia hoax, which, by the way, endangers our country when they do that. It turned out to be a total fake. Endangers, we can't have that. From the standpoint of even business, we have to be able to get along with other nations. We have to be able to use the minerals and other things that they have. But we have to make the proper deals, because with the proper deals, there will be nobody on earth that can compete with us in business. We will attract energy-hungry industries. There are a lot of industries will never be able to make it in certain areas because they don't have energy, but we have energy-hungry industries that will attract them from all over the planet, meaning millions and millions of blue-collar jobs and jobs of every type. To slash burdens on workers and businesses, we will cut 10 old regulations for every one new regulation. And I did that for 4 years, and we got it up to 7 for 1. Nobody's ever seen. I cut more regulations than any president in history in 4 years. And we will set up special zones of federal land with ultra-low taxes and regulations for American producers. These will be ideal spots for relocating entire industries that we've taken in from other countries. They're going to come in at levels that nobody's ever seen before. They want to be here. But they were forced to be out because in this country, we were so unfriendly in so many different ways, but especially with our tax policy. We will seriously expedite environmental approvals, and we will get everything approved quickly to unleash mineral production and rare earth. They think we have to go to China for rare earth. We don't. We have more rare earth than they do, but it's protected environmentally. We can't do anything about it. We're going to do something about it. We're going to use our resources to our benefit. And it'll be clean and environmentally perfect so that Americans can manufacture everything that we need, the resources we have right here. American soil, it's got everything. It's got the rare earth, it's got the oil, it's got the gas. We have everything. The only thing we don't have is smart people leading our country. Thank you very much. We're sitting on trillions and trillions of dollars under our feet, and let's use that to make America rich again. Is that okay? We'll pay off the debt. We'll reduce your taxes. It'll be a beautiful thing. You'll never have this. It'll be a renaissance. It'll be a golden period. It'll be a beautiful period. Finally, to exploit these pro-manufacturing policies, their full potential is going to happen. It's going to happen very quickly. I will appoint a manufacturing ambassador whose sole task, and it'll be a great one, will be to go around the world and convince major manufacturers to pack up and move back to America where they want to be. They want to be. For years, we watched other countries steal our jobs. Now we are going to be going after their jobs and bringing them back to America where they belong and where, frankly, they want to be. They want to be. If Kamala Harris gets 4 more years, she will deindustrialize the United States and destroy our country. We will become virtually a banana republic. We will be destroyed. Their plans are horrible. And if they wanted their plans, again, I say it all the time. I said it during the debate, where, by the way, we absolutely destroyed her, except for the fakers on a microphone. Oh, she did very well tonight. She did very well. She did very well. She couldn't put 2 sentences together. Take a look at her answers. And it was 3-on-1, too. ABC ought to be ashamed. It was 3-on-1. And actually, it's also interesting because after that horrible situation, because it's the fake news all over again. Fake news, you got a lot of them back here, by the way. But it's the fake news. But you know what? My numbers, look at the numbers today. The numbers are higher than they've ever been. We've never had numbers this good. So something happened that was pretty good. But it was interesting. I couldn't believe, I thought she was so bad. I came off that stage, I said, she was so bad. You know, one of the things, he's the GOAT of debates. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? They said, greatest of all time, 21 debates. And I thought that was one of my best debates. But, you know, after they spin better than anybody. Well, I don't know if I thought he did too well tonight. And wasn't she really terrific? She didn't say anything, except lies like a bloodbath, like Charlottetown. She lied. And you know what I say, just in finishing this topic? Because they'll say, oh, he fell into a trap. He talked about, you know, when somebody says something bad about you, if you then, nobody else, this only happens to me, if I then refute them, Marjorie, if I say, that's not true, and just give a few seconds and people understand it, they say, he fell into a trap. No, if they say bad about me, I got to refute it. I do it quickly, but I refute it. As soon as I refute, oh, he fell into a trap. Why would I let her say something bad about me and let it stand out there? If I don't refute it, people are going to think it's true. These people are the worst. These people are the worst. But it's been amazing what's been happening, and they're hearing what we're doing policy-wise, military-wise, border-wise, maybe especially border. You know, in 2016, I won on the border, and we fixed the border very quickly, and I was very proud of it. After that, nobody wanted me to talk about the border. They said, sir, it's been fixed. You know, I said, I want to talk about the border. They wouldn't let me, even though we got 12 million more votes in the following in 2020. We got 12. But listen, there is more enthusiasm now than there ever was for 2016 or for 2020 because of how bad they are. Because of how good a job we did and how bad they are. Under Kamala, there will be no car industry, no steel industry, no significant manufacturing of any kind, and we will be at risk of military defeat. You know that, right? A very simple fact is this. If you don't have steel, you don't have a military. And I'm not going to allow, and I said it before and I'll say it again, and I got along with a great gentleman, Shinzo Abe, from Japan. He was assassinated. He was a great gentleman. But I said, Shinzo, we have to change our trade deal. And he said to me, I knew you were going to come with that. I said, well, why did you know? He said, for 25 years, no American has said that to us. They got away with murder. And we changed the deal. And the deal we now have is really good. But the deal we're going to have is going to be beyond belief with every, not just with Japan, with every company and every, frankly, with their companies and with their nations. I'm not going to allow Japan to buy U.S. steel. I'm not going to let it happen. 70 years ago, again, the greatest company on earth. Vote for Trump and you will see a mass exodus of manufacturing from China to Pennsylvania, from Korea to North Carolina, from Germany to right here in Georgia. They're going to come to Georgia from Germany and lots of other places. And no matter where I go, and I go to a lot of places, we're definitely outworking the opposition. She'll go to one place in 3 days. I say, why can't I do that? Yesterday I was in Pennsylvania. I made 5 stops, 3 speeches. People say, how do you do it, sir? Then I said, where am I going tomorrow, sir? You're going to Savannah. Oh, what time are we leaving? 8 o'clock in the morning. Oh, great. I got home. You get home at 11, 12, 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. When am I going tomorrow? I'm going to Savannah, Georgia. Well, I love you, but I wouldn't mind leaving at 11 or 12 or 1. I'd be just as happy to be on. Sir, we're leaving. Sir, we're leaving at 9 o'clock. We're leaving at 8 o'clock. But it's okay. It's okay. It's worth it. But look, the way I look at it, we have no choice. If we don't win this election, we don't have a country anymore. So we're going to work our asses off. We're going to work our asses off. We will bring back the American dream bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. It's going to happen. We're pleased to be joined today by former Senator David Perdue, who is really working hard on the campaign. David, where is David? Where is he? See? He's such a nice guy. He didn't even want to stand up. He just wants to get the job done. That's what you do. You're a great guy, David. I appreciate it. Everyone's telling me you're working so hard. I said, where's David? He's working. He's working. And he's working on the campaign. He wants to get it done. We have another great gentleman, a really fine guy, a fantastic political person, Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones. Burt, stand up, Burt. And his incredible father is here. Good genetics in that family. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to have you. Representatives, and these are warriors, Buddy Carter. Buddy. Warrior. Great guy. And a very shy, quiet person, doesn't like mixing it up too much. But she is really highly respected in Washington, and she's fantastic. Marjorie Taylor Greene. And, of course, a woman that we all love, and especially we love her in Georgia, Alveda King. Thank you very much, Alveda, for being here. And I also want to thank Governor Kemp. He's been fantastic. He really has been fantastic, and we're going to get this done. But I want to thank Governor Kemp for his support, great support. Starting on day one, I will seal the border and stop the migrant invasion of our country. After almost 4 years, border czar Kamala Harris has decided for political reasons that it's time for her to go to the border. Finally, she's gone to the border 4 years. What a disgrace that is, that she waited so long, allowing millions and millions of people to enter our country from prisons and jails, mental institutions and insane asylums, and criminal cells all over the world, not just from South America, but many of them are terrorists, and they are coming from Africa, they're coming from the Congo, large numbers from the Congo, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from Asia, they're coming from South America, but not only South America, they're coming from all over the world. It's really just what they're doing to the fabric, to the guts of our country. It's not even believable. And you see what's going on. You see what's going on. They're taking over towns and cities, and they're taking them over with weapons. They're taking them over with weapons that are military-quality weapons. Where the hell are they getting the weapons? But she's trying to con the public that she did a good job at the border. She's actually saying, no, I did a good job at the border. Remember, you know, when she says we're working on the border, she still has airplanes flying in loaded up with migrants over the border. She thought she wouldn't get caught. It took them about 2 years to figure that one out. It was a little strange. Brand new, beautiful, large Boeing jets are landing in airports all over our country, and migrants are getting out. It took a little while to figure that one out. So they talk about the border, but they have planes to this day flying in loaded up. Hundreds of thousands of people being flown into all parts of our country, destroying our country. And she's destroyed the very fabric of our nation, allowing 21 million people to come in, at least, into our country. And think of it, totally unvetted, from places unknown, no checks, no names, no nothing, just come on in. But they do. They come from prisons, and they come from mental institutions. It's a terrible thing. And many, many terrorists at levels that nobody's ever seen before. You know, during my 4 years, I saw the other day, they had 1 year where they had zero. I don't believe that. This was done by Border Patrol. Oh, you know, I have you know my all-time favorite chart in history, right? I have a chart that's my all-time favorite. I love that. Is it around? Is it around? love that chart. I sleep with that chart every night. I kiss it. I love it. Because that chart saved my life. I look to the right. Bing. If I didn't look to the right, I wouldn't be here with you today. I guarantee you that. And it was amazing because that chart is seldom used, because I don't like to brag. It's seldom used. But when it is used, it's always on my left. It's always on my left, and it's always at the end of the speech. And I do a lot of things without a teleprompter. Isn't it nice, by the way, to have a president that doesn't need a teleprompter? Isn't it nice? Because a lot of, I don't often use a teleprompter, because if you use a teleprompter, it gets very boring. If I read every single word, I could go right down and you'd be in and out of here in 35 minutes. You say, that was pretty boring, wasn't it? Even with the good numbers that we're putting up, that would be boring. This chart is the greatest thing ever. I said, let me see the chart, bring it down. That was a lucky one, but maybe not lucky, maybe right up there. Maybe not right there. Maybe, I think, my two sons are great shooters, and they said, Dad, from 130 yards, a bad shooter couldn't miss with that gun, AR-15. And we lost a great, as you know, great fireman and two other people we thought we lost, but the doctors were phenomenal. The local doctors, they were sort of country doctors. They were phenomenal. They saved them. They're okay. And the nice part, a friend of mine came up to me and said, the firefighter, Corey, great guy, beautiful family, beautiful wife, daughters, he jumped on top of his daughters and he got hit right in the head. Right. But I don't know if I've said this publicly, but a friend of mine a member of Mar-a-Lago came up to me. He said, I'd like to give the family, and this is not a family with a good life in a safe community. There's no crime. There's no muggings. There's no pushing people into subways. There's no anything. It's a nice community. And Butler. And a friend of mine came up and he said, I'd love to give the family of the fireman a check for something. I said, good. I think it would be great. How much? He said, I don't know. And he handed me a check, signed it, $1 million. I said, wow. And then, when it was presented to this incredible wife of Corey, really incredible, devastated by what happened. He was a big fan. He was a big Trump guy. He had everything. They all were, all three, but the crowd was as far as they said 55,000 people, as far as the eye could see, and nobody left. When those bullets went off, like if it happens at a soccer game, they hear a bullet, they call it a stampede, like cattle. It's a stampede, and people are killed. Many people are killed. These bullets went off, but not one. There were a lot of them, 8, 9, and they went off. Secret Service shooter was unbelievable. The local police, actually, they did a great job in terms of the shooting. He may have also hit this lunatic, but think of it. So we gave her the check. She's never seen anything like it. They live a very nice life, but no money. And now she has $1 million. I said, that's only the beginning, because we did a GoFundMe, and they raised about $6 million. And so the other two men that got hit were really hit hard. They were not going to make it. First question I ask is, how many people were killed? Because with so many people, no matter where a bullet goes, going to hit somebody. They said 3 are probably dead. Well, the 2 were taken immediately to the hospital. The doctors were great. I was taken to a hospital. The doctor was, the whole hospital was fantastic. I mean, just so professional, so good. He looked at me, he said, you are the luckiest man. I said, no, maybe it's something else. But he couldn't believe it. The doctor said, sir, this would be a good day for you to go to the lottery and buy a nice ticket. Because what happened here, I've never said anything like that. But look, some very good things happen. The nicest thing when people say, it was God, and God came down and he saved you because he wants you to bring America back. So many people say that. people say that. I hope that's true. I hope that's true. Thank you. And then I had a little more of God's help about 2 months later. You saw that? Where a brilliant Secret Service agent, that's all you can say. You know, a lot of people, when they walk down grass, beautiful flowers, very thick shrubs, everything beautiful, they could say, oh, what beautiful, oh, isn't this guy nice? He wasn't looking at this guy. This guy was no games, and he was walking down the middle of that fairway, and he's looking over. And what does he see? He sees a rifle, just a small part of a very big weapon. And he sees a small part of a rifle, the barrel, coming out of very heavy shrubbery. Who's going to see that? Not a lot of people. And he didn't say, who's over there, please? May we talk? No, he took his gun and he started shooting him. And the guy dropped his... So think of that. That's, nothing's in the category where I have to turn to right. You have about an eighth of a second where you're safe. But I'm telling you, God was watching there too. Because you needed somebody really sharp. I give Secret Service a hell of a lot of credit. These are, look, they've been hit hard because of Butler, because, the building should have been taken care of, and they understand that. But when I went down, I had 4, 5, 6 people right on top of me, and there were bullets flying right over our heads. A lot of bullets were flying right over our head. They were not sitting back and taking a pass. They were not saying, oh, gee, I'm not going to go over that. That's dangerous stuff. They were on top of me in seconds, and you got to give them a lot of credit. But here you have to give them credit, too, because this agent, I would have been in that location within 10 minutes, right? And right next to the guy, practically. And this guy spotted, shot. But how about this? He then ran. There's a fence in between, cyclone fence. And he then ran across the street, down the block to get his car. Only a woman could do this because men aren't smart enough, I'll tell you. And a woman, pretty busy road, Congress it's called, and pretty busy. But she didn't like the way he looked. Now, I see people running all the time. I don't like the way they look. But I don't follow them. She didn't like the way he looked. He looked very suspicious. He was running like wild because he had to get away from the Secret Service. And his car was about a block away. She followed him, stopped right behind his car, and started taking pictures of his license plate. Who would do that? Who would do that? And I asked our great sheriffs in Palm Beach, I said, so if this happened 1,000 times, how many times would somebody follow somebody and take pictures of the license plate? He said, maybe none. That's right. I mean, that's luck too, or something. But this woman is incredible. And once they had the license plate, they had him in a high-speed chase down the highway. But once they had the license plate, it was over. If they didn't have the license plate, he would still be out there. I wouldn't be very comfortable. I would say, I wonder if he's in this audience. I'd say, where is this lunatic? But this woman was, what she did was amazing. So I've had a very interesting experience for the last couple of months. My profession is a very dangerous one. If you think of it, it's far more dangerous than auto races. 0.1% of the auto races die. 0.1% and a little more of the bull riders, that looks nasty, doesn't it? Die. Presidents, I don't want to tell you the percentage, but it happens to be a very dangerous profession. But the only thing I can say is they only go after consequential presidents. That's true. They only go after consequential presidents. So we are consequential. We're going to be even more consequential because we're going to do things that nobody has ever been able to do in this country. When Kamala is seen at the border on Friday, she will pass hundreds of miles of wall that was built by Trump, and it's wall that really works. And that's why we have If you look at the arrow on the bottom, the red arrow on the bottom, that was the week I left office. That's the lowest level of illegal immigration in the history, recorded history of our country. Look at that. Oh, every time I love it, I just go crazy. I love it. But that's the lowest level of illegal immigration. And that includes drugs, and it includes lots of other things. You know, drugs are now coming through our border at about 10 times. We talk about the illegal migrants, but the drugs are pouring through. Fentanyl is pouring through. I had it down to the lowest level, and I had to deal with President Xi in China that he was giving the death penalty. He was going to give the death penalty to anybody, because that's their penalty over there. That's why they have no drug problem. They have the death penalty for drug dealers. He was going to put this category, those that make fentanyl and ship it to the United States was going to get the death penalty. And I told him, if you don't do that, we're not going to do trading with China. We're going to go cold turkey. We're not trading, and we're going to put tariffs on anything that gets through, big ones. And he agreed to do it. And then Biden, of course, dropped the ball, just like he dropped the ball on Israel with Iran. Iran was ready to make a deal. They would have made a deal in 2 minutes, and now they had no money. They had no money. And now they have $300 billion. They made it all in 3.5 years. What a shame. What opportunity has been wasted. When Kamala speaks, be advised, and we have to tell, this woman has allowed record numbers of people into our country. They're from all over the world. They're now creating criminal havoc throughout the country. Aurora, Colorado, you saw that, where Venezuelan gangs are taking over real estate. They become real estate developers. How nice. No, they're taking over real estate, and they have weapons that even our military hasn't seen. Who's giving them these weapons? But Aurora is a mess. The governor is a mess. You know, the governor is a Democrat, and he's a radical left Democrat, and he's not too popular right now because they're going to take over a lot more than Aurora. They're going to go through Colorado, take over the whole damn state by the time they finish. Unless I become president, they won't last long. And in Springfield, Ohio, so you have a town of 50,000 people. They have 32,000 migrants put into the town almost overnight. And the people are so nice. You know, they want to be nice. They say, well, the mayor is actually looking for interpreters. He's looking all over for interpreters because they can't understand. The language is totally different. What the hell? I'm sorry. You have to move the people back to the country from which they came. You have to. You have to. Every state is a border state now. When she speaks, I hope everybody remembers that she has caused our cities, our towns, and our country itself tremendous damage. Our country is dying. Our country is dying. We're taking all the criminals from all over the world. You know, the crime rates for countries all over the world is way down because they've taken the citizens of their countries have demanded it. They're taking the criminals out and they're moving them and dumping them into the United States of America, and their crime rates are cut in half and less than that. And their jails, which were packed, in many cases are close to empty and very soon will be totally empty because they've taken their prisoners and they've dumped them into the United States of America. We're like a dumping ground, and we're not going to allow it. We're bringing them back. We're bringing them back. And by the way, you know, this is a speech on economic development, but this is a big part of economic development. We can't have factories being built where you have criminals walking down the street with the worst weapons that you've ever seen, with machine guns and everything else. We can't have it. We have to have a safe country, because if you don't have a safe country, everything I talk about today, you can reduce very substantially. So number one, we're going to make America safe, because we have to have a safe country or nobody's going to want to come here. And with her, she doesn't know what the word safe is. You know, she was the head of Defund the Police. Anybody that heads up Defund the Police is not qualified to be a president of the United States. And that lies like she lies. She lies about everything. She changed 15 policies. Now, I've watched politics for a long time. I've been involved on the other side for a long time with helping people out. But I've watched for a long time, and I've seen people change 1 or 2 policies. But I've never seen people change 15 policies. She wants to confiscate your gun. Now she said, oh, I won't do that. She wants to have no fracking. She's 100 times no fracking. There will be no fracking in Pennsylvania, right? No fracking. Now she's saying, oh, I'd love to have fracking. But, you know, they always go back to where they were. They always go back because that's it. She's a Marxist philosophy. Her father is a Marxist philosopher, and he taught her well. And that's what you got, and you can't have that. Our country is not ready for this and hopefully never will be. Kamala's, remember one other thing, and I think it's terrible. She lied about McDonald's. She said, I was a worker in McDonald's. And I stood over the French fries. I'm going to a McDonald's over the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to stand over the French fries because I want to see what her job really wasn't like, because she never. I stood over the French fries, and that was tough. It was hot outside, and it was hot over. She never worked there. It was a lie. And when I asked her at the debate, I said, I want to talk about this. ABC said, you know, ABC, which is the worst of them all, by the way. Did you see that David Muir's ratings are way down? I love that, because he lost his credibility. I love it. Kamala's illegals are also crushing your wages and stealing your jobs. Last month alone, think of this, American-born workers lost 1.3 million jobs, and migrants gained 635,000 jobs. So we're putting our migrants to work at a much higher level than our own people, our own citizens. So as we create millions of new manufacturing jobs here in Georgia, nationwide, we will make sure that these jobs go to American citizens, not illegal citizens, people that came into our country illegally. Your wages will rise, your costs will fall, your job opportunities will grow, because we will conduct the largest deportation operation, sadly, in American history. We have no choice. This is not sustainable. And we got to get the criminals out first. We're going to get the criminals, the murderers, the drug dealers. We're going to get them out of here first. And we're going to work with local police. They know everything about them. They know their names. They know their serial numbers. They know everything. Our local police are phenomenal. We just have to let them do their job. And starting on day one, we will end inflation and make America affordable again. We will have, ready, no tax on tips. No tax on overtime. And for our seniors who have been devastated by this Harris-Biden inflation that was so unnecessary, caused by energy, they let energy go through the roof. It caused it. And also their spending, but I say even more by energy. We're going to have this for our seniors. No tax on Social Security. They deserve it. They deserve it, what they've had to put up with. You know, the people with the tips, they're being tormented by this administration, too. They passed new legislation and have other legislation that was ready to go all of a sudden. How about her? She comes out a couple of weeks ago, months after I did, but there will be no tax on tips. But that's it. Nothing ever happened. Nothing ever happens with her, because if it did happen, she would have done it 3.5 years ago. That's what I say. And to finish, she lied about McDonald's. She lied. And she lied about almost everything else. And she doesn't understand a question, and she can't give an answer. If you watch Oprah, I knew Oprah very well. She loved me before politics. She was down at Mar-a-Lago. Donald, this is the most beautiful place I've ever seen. Can we have the funeral of Roger King? He was King World, great guy, great guy. Could we have the funeral at Mar-a-Lago? Yes, Oprah, you can. We had his funeral. He's the most important guy and one of the most important people in her life. She was the one that worked it out, but she was there a lot. She loved the key lime pie. I love that key lime pie. But once I ran for politics, it's like, I don't like that guy very much. No, I gave up a lot, but I don't mind giving it up because we're going to make our country greater than ever before. And while working Americans catch up, we're going to put a temporary cap on credit card interest rates at 10%. We have no choice. They're getting 22, 25%. We can't let people have to pay 25% and 22% interest because they can't afford to pay off their credit card. We're going to cap it for a period of time at 10%. We will terminate the Green New Scam and spend the trillions and trillions of dollars of unspent dollars on roads, bridges, real infrastructure, and paying down debt, not fake infrastructure that has caused massive inflation, along with the energy. That bill was just a disaster, just trillions of dollars. That's what caused all of the inflation, those two things. I will settle the war in Ukraine, and I will end the chaos in the Middle East, and I will prevent something that nobody else will be able to do. I will prevent World War III, and you are very close to World War III. Biden and Kamala got us into this war in Ukraine, and now they can't get us out. They can't get us out. I watched him. We will win. We will. He's been saying that for 3 years. Every time Zelensky comes to the United States, he walks away with $100 billion. I think he's the greatest salesman on earth. But we're stuck in that war unless I'm president. I'll get it done. I'll get it negotiated. I'll get out. We got to get out. Biden says, we will not leave until we win. What happens if they win? That's what they do, is they fight wars. As somebody told me the other day, they beat Hitler, they beat Napoleon. That's what they do, they fight. And it's not pleasant, but, you know, we've given them close to $300 billion. And you know what Europe has given them? Which is approximately our size when you add up the countries together, their economy, it's very close to our size. They've given them like a small fraction of that number, just a small, very small fraction. And we have an ocean separating. It's much more important for... Now, why aren't they? You know why they are? Because Biden has never even asked them. I guarantee you. Do you think Biden lies awake at night thinking, how are we going to get Europe to pay? No, he goes to sleep. Here's a guy can sleep on the beach. How do you sleep on the beach when you have cameras on? I will never sleep on the beach in front of live television, I promise. No, the other day he was out cold. I said, is he sleeping? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a great thing. If you're able to sleep with live television going, somebody told him he looks great in a bathing suit. You know, when you're 82, it's never too pretty. And I love 82-year-olds, but when you're 82 in a bathing suit, I don't know, you know. But he actually was stone cold out. You got to give him credit, though, you know, because anybody that can do that, I find it very hard to sleep. I get so many ideas. I'm thinking all the time. This guy just goes out. Lies down, goes out, pictures of him. It's pretty sad when you think about it, right? We will, you know, we laugh, but it's sad. And nobody told us he was cognitively impaired. She didn't say it. She didn't say it. And that puts our country at great danger because President Xi is at the top of his game. All of these guys that we're competing against are all at the top of their game. He's not. He hasn't been for a long time. And that puts us at great risk and great danger. We will rebuild our cities, including Washington, D.C., making them safe, clean, and beautiful again. And we will keep the U.S. dollar as the world's reserve currency. Because it's under tremendous siege right now. And if we lose that, then we are indeed a third world country. We cannot allow that to happen. We have so many enemies now. We have so many people. You know, I had no wars other than ISIS, which I inherited, and I finished off ISIS in 4 weeks instead of 5 years that they thought. Because we have a great military that I rebuilt. I rebuilt our military. Sadly, $85 billion of it went to Afghanistan. Can you believe that? Should have never happened. You take the soldiers out last. You don't take the soldiers out first. Took the soldiers out, and then after they took the soldiers out, the Taliban had a field day. What a horrible thing. We lost 13 great soldiers, many wounded so horribly, the legs, the arms, the face obliterated so badly. Nobody ever talks about them. They talk about those that were killed, and I love those families. I know the families. They've never even called the families, but they were 13 killed, great people. But we also left behind billions and billions of dollars worth of the best military equipment in the world. And now Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of military equipment. 777,000 rifles and guns, 71,000 vehicles, many of them armor-plated. But you have to see goggles and planes and tanks. What the stupidity of these people. We have to get back to a country again. We have to be respected. They laugh at us all over the world. They're laughing at us. And you know what they're really laughing at? Kamala, because they can't believe that she's going to be president. They can't believe. You talk about cognitive problems? She's got bigger cognitive problems than he has, in my opinion. This is how we're going to end the era of inflation and mayhem, misery. Under Kamala and Crooked Joe, we had such misery. Think about what we've been through with the inflation, with the wars all over the world. Prime Minister of Hungary, Viktor Orban, strong man, really a great leader, didn't allow anybody into his country. He said, no, I don't want people blowing up our shopping centers. I don't want people killing our people. But he said, when he was asked recently, a couple of times, just recently, he said it numerous times, they said, why is the world blowing up? The Middle East is blowing up. Russia looks like it's going to end up in a World War III. All of these problems are happening. They weren't here. He said, it's one simple reason. Donald Trump isn't president. You make Donald Trump president of the United States. Nobody understood him. Everybody was afraid of him. They feared Donald Trump. I don't want to be the one. He said it. I didn't say it because it sounds sort of, but he said it. He said they feared. China feared him. Russia feared him. They all feared him. We had no problems. Russia was never going into Ukraine, and they didn't. For 4 years, they didn't. When I left, they just went in. It was the apple of his eye. I know him very well. Had a good relationship with him, especially since the hoax created by Hillary and Shifty Adam Schiff and all these people, these lowlifes. And you know the danger, by the way, you know the danger that that kind of stuff causes our country? Tremendous risk. Fortunately, it worked out fine, but there's tremendous risk when you start doing that crap, all made up stuff, made up stories of fantasy land. We will unleash safety, prosperity, and peace for Americans of every race, religion, color, and creed. We're going to have prosperity the likes of which this country has never had. And together we will deliver low taxes, low regulations, really low energy costs. I am going to get the energy costs. Forget about companies. It's going to happen for them too. Same thing. We're going to get your energy bills reduced by more than 50% within the first 12 months of my administration. And I'm talking now house owners and renters and everybody. Your car, everything's going to go way down, and that's going to lead a wave of bringing some of these horrible prices down because interest rates are now, think of it, 10%. We had them at 2%. But low interest rates, low inflation, you're going to have all of this. You're going to get really low interest rates again because when the energy goes down, the interest rates are going down too. It's honestly not that complicated. Not easy to do, but I know how to do it. And I did it once, and it was incredible. Just go back and compare your prices with what you're paying for things today with what you were paying 4 or 5 years ago. You won't even believe the difference. So that everyone can afford, I want to make sure that everybody can afford groceries, a car, and a home, the basics. I want to make sure that our young people can experience the potential, at least, of the American dream. We will stop the invasion. We will end migrant crime. We're going to support our great police. We're not going to be defunding our police. She'll go back to defunding the police. You know, I have the support of virtually every major police group in the United States. I just got the support from the Fraternal Order the other day. 400,000 police, but virtually I don't think she has one. I don't think, because she's horrible on crime, and she's going to be horrible on crime. She's horrible on the border. She's horrible on business. She's bad on everything. Other than that, she's just fine. What a mess our country's in. And we're not going to have, somebody said the other day, if she won, you literally may never have another election. This could be your last election. And, I used to say it about Venezuela. Remember years ago, I'd say, Venezuela better be careful. And I'll tell you what, we better be careful, because we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids. That's where we're headed. If this communist gets in to be president, if she's the president of our country, we're going to have problems the likes of which this country has never had. And once you have those problems, it never comes back. You don't see them coming back. They never come back. We're going to strengthen our military. I rebuilt our military, but now we have to strengthen it again. We're going to build a missile defense shield around our country. We need that protection, just like Israel has and just like some others have. And it's going to be made largely right here in the great state of Georgia. You do a lot of that. No, we want to have a shield, and we deserve a shield. And you have some lunatics out there that are not loving us too much, and we're not going to let it happen. We're going to build a shield. It's going to be all made in the USA. When we build an airplane, and I changed a lot of it, some of those planes are made with parts from 21 different countries. Do you ever hear of anything so stupid? So in we have a war, we won't be able to get a part from various countries. We can't build the planes. And the steel, too. We need steel for our ships. We have to build great ships. We can't say to China, listen, we're in a war. I won't say with them, because I don't want to give you any ideas. We're in a war. We need some steel. Can you send it to us? No, we're not going to send you any steel. What are we going to do? We have to have our steel. We have to have our steel plants. There are some things we cannot let others do. We're going to keep critical race theory and transgender insanity the hell out of our school. And we're going to keep men out of women's sports. We will defend the Second Amendment, restore free speech, and we will secure our elections. They're going to be so secure. Everyone will prosper, every family will thrive, and every day will be filled with opportunity and hope. But for that to happen, we must defeat Comrade Kamala Harris, and we must stop her country-destroying. This is a country-destroying liberal agenda that we have to stop once and for all. We have to stop it. We cannot let this continue. So get everyone you know, get out and vote. We want a landslide that's too big to rig. Too big to rig. At a certain point, they can't cheat. When it's too big to rig, you know what that means? Pretty obvious, but we want to make it so it doesn't matter. Too big to rig. And I think we're getting close to that in Georgia right now with a lot of great help. A lot of great help. On November 5th, we will save our economy. It will go down as the most important day in the history of our country, far beyond our economy, because we're going to save our country. It will be the most important day, November 5th, in the history of our country. We will rescue our middle class. We will reclaim our sovereignty and restore our borders. We will put America first, and we will take back our country. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.